The Jobs and Business Development Committee to order. And we have two very simple items. So let's take item one.
Item number one is a city attorney report relative to establishing a voluntary disclosure program regarding tax liabilities.
Please.
Good afternoon, Deputy City Attorney Dan Whitley. This had been heard a few weeks ago, and there had been this program had some controversy because it allowed the Office of Finance to decline to offer a voluntary disclosure agreement if they had evidence of negligence on behalf of the taxpayer, along with some other reasons. Since our last meeting, the Office of Finance and the Business Tax Advisory Committee had a meeting. They have asked us to delete the reference to negligence, but otherwise they agree that the ordinance meets the needs of both BTAC and Office of Finance. I have drafted an amendment to the ordinance, and it's under our administrative review process and should be released shortly. And once it is, it will go forward for review.
Would it come back to this committee?
It can come back to this committee. My understanding is it can be waived to council for review.
Yeah, that would be my intent. I understand BTAC voted to support the new language?
That's what was referred to me as well. I spoke with the member of one of their subcommittees that's in charge of this, and they said that they agreed.
Okay. So I don't think there's any controversy at this point.
No, Ed Cabrera, Office of Finance. Just to clarify, Office of Finance did meet with BTAC. We did arrive at language that was agreed to by the full BTAC group, as well as Finance, and we have provided that draft language for revision to City Attorney. However, at this point, we have not seen the final revised ordinance.
Okay, well, I would be happy to approve the language and instruct the City Attorney to draft an ordinance to present to City Council directly. Would that be appropriate?
That would be appropriate.
Okay. And if a member comes, Mr. Parks is in budget, Mr. Krikorian is expected, but if we can be done in 5 minutes, we'll be done. So that would be a communication from the chair if another member does not come in the next 5 or 10 minutes. There's no public comment on this, no cards received, so that will be the order unless a member comes, so we can vote on it. Item number two.
Item number two is a city attorney report and ordinance relative to clarifying the periods for which businesses can be liable for business taxes without affecting other tax collection periods.
Essentially the same, right?
There is one controversy. This deals with the substantial understatement period when a taxpayer substantially understates the tax on their filings with the Office of Finance. As drafted, the substantial understatement period would apply for a taxpayer who timely files. The Office of Finance would like this to apply to a taxpayer who files either timely or untimely. This was raised at the last meeting, and the Business Tax Advisory Committee hadn't had a chance to consider that change to the ordinance.
I was under the impression they did vote on it.
That
If I may clarify,
Okay.
subsequent to the last Jobs Committee meeting, Office of Finance at last Wednesday's Business Tax Advisory Committee did raise the issue with the committee. They are in agreement with Finance's proposed revision that the substantial understatement of tax apply to all taxpayers, not just those that file timely. BTAC is in agreement that the ordinance should apply
You
to...
mean not just those that filed untimely?
Right, whether they're late or on time,
Okay.
the ordinance should apply to them. BTAC is in agreement with that change.
Okay, well then we'll take the same action to direct as a communication from the chair that that we support the language as proposed and direct the City Attorney to prepare an ordinance for consideration by the City Council. What's your timing on that?
Well, I don't have a revision for this yet because I wasn't instructed to do that. I'll get this done this afternoon and submit it for our review process, and I'll make sure that we know it needs to be done urgently. That's the best I can do. It's a very minor change.
Is there any Do things get moved to the front of the line, or?
This will be moved to the front of the line,
Okay.
but we do have, we need to make sure that even though it's a minor change, that it does track and that we haven't.
So we're talking about a month before it goes to council, or sooner?
No, it should take a couple days. The problem is that because there's a lot of issues that we deal with.
No, I'm talking about how long would it take before we can send it to council?
Oh, it shouldn't be more than a couple of weeks.
Oh, okay, that's fine, that's fine. And I have no intention of bringing it back to committee, that's my goal. But if we had to wait a long time, we might have to, so. Okay, then, as soon as the ordinance is drafted, we'll send it directly to council for consideration. We'll have a chance to look at it, make sure it's in alignment with everybody's wishes. And we have no public comment cards on this, no public comment, nobody here, so that would be the order. And this is the fastest Jobs and Business Development Committee to date at 7 minutes. Exactly. So this meeting's adjourned at 7 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
So don't schedule this yet until the ordinance comes
Yeah,
in.
look at the art. Just finished.
Thank you, but we're done.
Seriously?
The amendment that we